In the world of Pokemon, there are broadly two formats, singles and doubles. From what I understand, the 3v3 official singles format is extremely popular in Japan, but in the West, the unofficial 6v6 Smogon singles is the most popular format. This video is going to be talking about the Smogon singles perspective. On the other hand, you have the 4v4 doubles format known as VGC, which is the official format. Some Pokemon are good in both singles and doubles, like Goldengo, whose steel typing and high special attack are good everywhere. But there are other Pokemon that are good in singles but not doubles, and vice versa. By understanding the characteristics that make a Pokemon strong in one format but not the other, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the diversity and depth of the Pokemon competitive scene. So let's take a look at Pokemon that are good in doubles but not in singles. But first, a word from our sponsor. Bespoke Post is a monthly membership club delivering a box of awesome top-shelf goods from under-the-radar brands. It's free to join and you can skip a month or cancel anytime. 90% of the products come from small brands, many of which are based right here in the US. Every month they introduce their members to cool new products like outdoor gear, barware, home and kitchen goods, clothing, and more based on a preference quiz that you fill out. Every box of awesome has around $70 worth of goods inside but costs you only a fraction of the value. You'll get a box of awesome assigned to you, and before it's shipped you'll get a preview of what comes inside to decide if you'd like to keep it, swap it for a different box, or skip the month entirely for no charge. You only pay for what you want. For example, I got the Scorch box, which had a lot of different hot sauces, and I got the Explore box, which has a backpack that I'm actually going to be using for VGC events. To get 20% off your first box of awesome, you can either click the link in the description and enter my code at checkout, or you can go to my personalized link too. Now back to the video. First of all, before we even start talking about Pokemon, it's important to acknowledge that Paradox Pokemon and Legendaries are usable in Smogon singles, whereas VGC has them banned as of right now. Right now, VGC is in Series 1, which does not allow Paradox Pokemon. Paradox Pokemon are legal in Series 2, which will be official in February, but as of now there hasn't been an official Series 2 tournament. Smogon operates by allowing any Pokemon that you can get in-game and then banning the overpowered ones, but VGC often has different formats where after some time the format changes. Format changes include limiting or increasing the number of legendary Pokemon allowed on your team. Series 1 does not allow Paradox Pokemon or sub-legendaries like Chi-Yu. This means that generally speaking, right now, Smogon does have a higher power level than Series 1 VGC. With that in mind, let's continue. At number 1, we have Tatsugiri. Tatsugiri forms one of the most dangerous cores in doubles with the Dondozo Tatsugiri core. For those of you who don't know, Tatsugiri has the ability Commander, which is a doubles only ability. If you have Dondozo and Tatsugiri on the field at the same time, Tatsugiri jumps in the mouth of Dondozo and cannot attack anymore, but is also immune to attacks too. But more importantly, Dondozo doubles every single stat and you can't switch out either Pokemon. It's one of the defining strategies of Series 1. Dondozo instantly becomes stronger and more defensive than any other Pokemon on the field. The only downside is that you can only attack with one Pokemon while fighting two Pokemon, but that trade-off is completely worth it. Dondozo is a tank and it can literally beat two Pokemon while fighting them both at the same time. Strategies like Flower Trick Meowscarada work somewhat because Meowscarada outspeeds Dondozo even after a boost, but Dondozo can easily terrestrialize out of its grass-type weakness. Other than that, there are ideas like Haze and Perish Song. Even if you beat Dondozo, Tatsugiri pops out of its mouth and Tatsugiri is still an okay Pokemon independently. It's not complete dead weight. It has a decent enough typing and good spread moves like Muddy Water and Icy Wind, which affects both Pokemon on the opponent's field. Dondozo plus Tatsugiri is definitely one of the biggest meta threats in doubles, and every team needs to be prepared for it. Obviously in singles, Tatsugiri can't form that core and it's much worse off. In singles, it can be an annoying sweeper with Nasty Plot and Rapid Spin. 120 special attack is pretty good and Tatsugiri gets strong moves like Hydro Pump and Draco Meteor. Other than that, it's pretty average statistically. I wouldn't call it totally terrible, but it's definitely not even close to the threat that it forms in doubles. At number 2, we have Murkrow, which might be surprising if you don't play doubles. But Murkrow is a very common Pokemon in doubles for two reasons. One is Prankster Tailwind. Tailwind is a great move in doubles and speed changes that get applied on the same turn. A common idea is Tailwind Murkrow and Specs Golden Go with Make It Rain. Any powerful attacker works with Tailwind, and there are a lot of Pokemon that are usable because of Tailwind. The main thing when evaluating a Tailwinder is the reliability of setting it up. Murkrow is great because Prankster means your Tailwind has priority and you can at least get it off before dying. Similarly, Talonflame is also a good Tailwind Pokemon because it's innately fast and also has Gale Wings. Talonflame is another Pokemon that is good in doubles but not that great in singles because of Tailwind. But what separates Murkrow from Talonflame is that it also gets Prankster Haze. This is game-changing for fighting against Dondozo teams and is one of the main reasons why Murkrow is getting so much usage. It's a weak Pokemon, but it fits on teams as a Tailwinder and a Dondozo check. In singles, on the other hand, Murkrow is just pretty bad. Prankster Tailwind is not meaningful because Tailwind itself is not very good in singles. 4 turns is not good enough because you also have to spend time bringing the new attacker into the game. Prankster Haze is actually kind of nice, but not useful enough to justify using a team slot for it. Murkrow doesn't really do anything extra. In doubles, Prankster Haze and Tailwind is useful enough to justify using it, and it's much better in doubles than in singles. At number 3, we have Lycanroc. In doubles, Lycanroc Sand is pretty anti-meta, but the benefits are obvious. Lycanroc with Sand Rush and Rock Slide has a strong, fast spread move that can flinch too. Consistent damage and the chance of flinching can really open up holes for its partner Pokemon Tyranitar. But also, Lycanroc has been using Focus Sash Endeavor. If it gets taken down to Sash, then on the next turn it can outspeed everything and bring something down to 1 HP too, and then let Sand knock it out. This has become as popular as it has because of Dondozo. In doubles, Endeavor is a great way to cut through Dondozo and bring it to 1 HP by bypassing all the defense boosts. In singles, on the other hand, first of all, there's no Dondozo that you need to Endeavor for. Rock Slide being a spread move isn't meaningful either. Lycanroc is just too weak of a Pokemon to justify using a Sand Team for it. Paradox Pokemon also mean the overall power level is higher, so it's tougher for Lycanroc to compete. Great Tusk alone shuts down Lycanroc, and Ting Lu easily beats it as well. It's also poor defensively, which means it's tougher to bring into the game too. In singles, it doesn't really benefit from having a spread move, and Endeavor isn't meaningful either, and Lycanroc just isn't good overall. At number 4, we have Paldean Water Tauros and to an extent Arcanine. Until Incineroar possibly comes back, these two are some of the best Intimidate Pokemon. Intimidate is especially valuable because in doubles it affects both Pokemon. In singles, Intimidate is still a great ability, but it only affects one Pokemon at a time and they can just switch out too. In doubles, switching out is much more costly because the games are shorter and every turn you're switching is a turn you're not attacking. In doubles, you can also form nasty attacking combinations where a powerful teammate can live hits because of Tauros' Intimidate, and you can generally snowball larger strategies. On the other hand, Paldean Tauros is pretty average in singles. I wouldn't call it bad, and Intimidate is still good, and Tauros actually beats Chien-Pao, one of the best Pokemon, but Tauros is otherwise pretty mid. It can't beat top dragon Pokemon like Dragapult or Dragonite, and it's just a little slow and a little weak for an offensive Pokemon when you compare it to the other options like Chien-Pao or Iron Valiant. It's also walled by defensive Pokemon like Dondozo. The power level just isn't there. The main difference is that Intimidate is just much more valuable in doubles than it is in singles, and that's just a fundamental fact. Even when Paradox Pokemon show up in Series 2 of doubles, it's still likely to be a fine Pokemon. Finally, at number 5, we have Indeedee Female. Indeedee is a wonderful Pokemon for its support moves and ability. Beyond that, it also gets Follow Me to redirect attacks off a partner. A very common core is to use Indeedee plus Expanding Force Armarouge. Indeedee takes the hits and uses Follow Me, while Expanding Force, a spread move, pairs well with Choice Specs Armarouge. More fundamentally, Psychic Terrain is great for Trick Room teams because it blocks priority moves. Trick Room takes control of the speed situation, and Psychic Terrain protects Armarouge from moves like Sucker Punch. However, in singles, none of these skills are applicable. Trick Room and Follow Me don't do anything meaningful in a singles context. Trick Room takes too long to develop in singles because you have to set up Trick Room and also spend a turn to switch to the attacking Pokemon. Psychic Terrain support could be useful for something like Unburden Hawlucha, but overall isn't common. Indeedee is weak, there aren't many Psychic Terrain strategies worth justifying the use of Indeedee, and its move pool has a lot of moves that are good in doubles but irrelevant in singles, and there's overall a very drastic difference. Those are my top 5 Pokemon that are good in doubles but not singles, but there are others too depending on your personal opinion. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below.